I'm a young kid from Mobile, Alabama. Grew up in Pritchard, 2-bedroom home, 15 people. And mom and dad worked extremely hard. My dad got killed when I was 2 years old. And we made a commitment to each other that we was gonna one day be on the other side of what we was going through. So we already know it brought me $1.3 million in 2021 with the flip game.
If you could coach someone that was in your position, how would you coach him?
It's not what it looks like. It's what you can create. Whatever you are currently experiencing, you can change that. You can keep going. Don't stop. On the other side is greatness. When I had the failed suicidal attempt, I thought that was going to be a relief when I drive my car off the bridge. But honestly, that was stopping everything that was on the other side of it. There are things that you have to go through in the process to become who you actually are. Don't just stop. Don't just give up. Don't just give in. Now I look at life and I say, hey, look, why not me? Why not me? Back then I looked at life and I said, why me, God? Why do you have me at this point? Why did I not make it to the NFL? I was the only one on the team that was starting as a freshman. Why not me? Why not me?
This is the shit we need on this channel. That's awesome, man. Hey, you made him cry over there with the speech. Yeah, you made me cry over there.
Man, I'm tearing up over here with that one.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Millionaire in the Making podcast. My name is Gage.
Justin.
And we have a very special episode for you guys today. But before we get into that, I have to ask you guys one thing. Are you subscribed? If not, be sure to do so. But without any further ado, I'm going to kick it to Justin and let him introduce today's guest.
All right, we got a very special guest today. Some of y'all might even recognize him. You know, he's got a couple clips that popped off on YouTube. We've got Brandon today.
Yes,
now,
sir.
He was recommended by a very close friend, and he's a very impressive individual. And I think he's going to resonate with a lot of you. Now, go ahead and give us a brief summary, like a 2-minute, summary of who you are.
First off, thank you guys for having me.
Yeah, for sure.
I don't take it lightly, man. I'm very comfortable being here. A lot of people struggle with being comfortable in certain areas, but this place is beautiful and it's an awesome room. So thank you guys for having me here. I'm a young kid from Mobile, Alabama. Grew up in Pritchard, 2-bedroom home, 15 people. And mom and dad worked extremely hard. My dad got killed when I was 2 years old. And we made a commitment to each other that we was gonna one day be on the other side of what we was going through. So I'm just a young kid from Mobile that worked really, really hard and went off and played college football, had an opportunity to go to the NFL before a career-ending injury, became an author, now travel the country doing motivational speaking and doing deals, real estate deals.
Man, okay.
That's pretty impressive to rattle it off like that.
There's so many things that we can go down first with that one. Man, I want to start with the real estate part first because that's what's got my interest, and then we'll move on to the football one after that. So tell me, how many homes do you own or how many homes did you flip last year? Let's start with the flip ones.
So I've been inspired by our conversation, the Monopoly game, playing the Monopoly game. For me, it was more of a machine gun approach. We came out, it was my first year in real estate, really 2 years ago. And over the last 2 years, I flipped about 40 homes. Okay. And I've been a part of a lot of other real estate deals with wholesaling.
That's interesting. You mind if we pull it back a little bit? And how did you get into real estate? How did you initially get that capital to get into the game?
So I've always been a firm believer in other people's money, the OPM method, and utilizing other people to get to where we're looking to go. I say we because it's creating a win-win situation for both parties. And my thing was, okay, if I can go out, all right, let's backtrack a little bit. Let's backtrack. So growing up in the hood, right, growing up in this type of environment, you notice and you see certain things. And so one of my strong points was seeing my cousins and my uncles and stuff, people moving drugs around. So I'm like, okay, the person that got it, they want what they got. So I just watched stuff move, kind of like the Monopoly game.
Supply and demand.
Yeah, supply and demand. And I just said to myself, hey, how about I do this and do it the right way? And I started watching HGTV, Flip That House. And I watched it all the way through my years in college at Clemson. And I was like, one day I'm going to do that. So I reached the lowest point of my life. And then I made a decision, hey, look, let's just do it. Let's just fail a couple of times. And I failed a couple of times, lost on a couple of deals. And then from there, I just went running,
That's awesome, man. Is there, we're not going to talk about it yet, but you said right when you got out of Clemson, career-ending injury, you're just sitting there. Is that the first thing you went to? You just immediately went to flipping, or did you do anything else?
What was your first deal? How did everything align for your first deal?
So I went to the bottom.
Okay.
Plain and simple. I went to the bottom. I played college football, had hopes and dreams of making it to the NFL, had a career-ending injury, went to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and they sent me back home, said, hey, dude, you know, your Achilles has been damaged too bad for us to continue to go with your contract. So I'm like devastated. You know, you work your whole life for something for the moment, and then all of a sudden it's gone. And I was devastated, man. I hit like rock bottom. I was at home with my mom, staying back with my mom at this point, and God just like started dealing with me like, dude, you got to let this pain go into something. And that's when I wrote my first book. And I just was like, just writing. And eventually I became a published author, started traveling, going to like high schools and stuff, sharing my stories, just giving back. And one day I just made a decision, hey, look, let's try that real estate thing that I was thinking about in college. And I tried it, lost $40,000. I was like, yes, this is the right thing. I know that sounds crazy, right? You lose $40,000. But for me, I had got so comfortable being uncomfortable that the $40,000 really turned me up.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, I like this then. Let's go back and get it. Most people would have folded. $40,000, I don't want to touch it. Let me get away from it. I was like, what an opportunity. So my whole life has been centered around that, being punched in the mouth, tasting the blood, and then saying, hey, look, let's go take advantage of this. What an opportunity for me to show my character, my integrity, my dignity, and things like that. So that's how I got into the real estate, man. And then I had some successful deals, made some money, and then I started learning OPM. And I was like, okay, if I go out, I bring the deal. I'm the most important part of the whole thing. Mm-hmm. The money is the easy part. I thought the money was the hard part. Yeah. I thought raising the money, raising the capital was like so far-fetched, but actually that was the easiest part. The hardest part was finding the deal, structuring the deal, putting the deal together, and then I could just shop it around to everybody. So,
people will bid for it at that point.
Yeah, it's like a bidding war. I was like, ooh, I like this. It's like an auction. I now send out deals, and I have 5 to 10, maybe 15 people that's just sitting back with money like, hey, B, let us be a part of your deal. And the reason being is because not only is it a deal with somebody, but it's a deal with me at this point, because I've successfully done deals over and over again, and I took care of the lender's money. People like when you take care of their money and return it better than what it was. You know?
What's your target? You do a 70% equity and then you sell it for 85%. What's your how do you structure your deals? Like, what do you look for?
So most of my deals in the flip game has been basically borrowing 70-75% of whatever the ARV is. Yep. And basically interest only. And then we do the interest only. It's usually my deals go, I'm so fast with it. My deals usually go probably about 2 to 3 months before we at the closing table. So the lenders really like the way that we do it. We get in and we get out. And now in the bigger deals that we're looking to do, the RV parks, the storage units, the apartment complex, we'll be giving some equity, probably take on a little debt too. Yeah. We'll be working out bigger long-term stretches on those deals.
ARV means after repair value for everybody who's listening. The next thing, are you using private or are you using, traditional finance?
So I originally started off using hard money.
Yeah.
You have to crawl before you walk and you don't fold. And that was the mindset I had for myself. Hey, look, you can either cry about it or you can take what you got and use it to get where you're going. And when I say take what you got to use it to get what you're going, everybody that's watching this video, is when we do hard money, they're usually charging me 12 to 15%. It's like, if you want my money, then I'm going to play hard to give you the money, right? And so I started just taking that moment, that opportunity to do those deals. I took that opportunity as an opportunity for me to kind of like build my portfolio. And now I can go back to the table with people and say, hey, look, this is what I have done and not what I'm looking to do. And when they see that, it's impressive to them. So they're like, all right, you name your rate. Where you want to be at? 8%, 9%, 10%. So now I'm getting really good rates now.
Good. Yeah. I love going private, hard money.
Yeah.
Because it really, off the start, teaches you how to move quickly. Now, when he says 10, 12% interest, that's not simple interest. It means amortized over a year, he's paying 10, 12%. So if you can get that house and flip it in a month or two, you're paying 1.8% interest, 2% interest, 3% interest at the end of the day. But they also charge points, origination points. So it might be 1%, 2%. You're going to pay that off the jump. So just to get everybody educated real quick on that.
So you guys tell me, I'm going to ask this question. I'm sure the viewers are thinking about it. Is it easier to qualify for a traditional loan or get a hard money loan?
Hard money loan.
It's easier to get hard money? That's why the percentages of interest is higher?
Okay. Yeah, way easier, because if you get the traditional, they're going to look through 2 years of tax returns. Yeah. They're going to look at your income to debt ratio. I mean, if you're a small business owner and you work for yourself, they are going to go through all of your books with a fine-tooth comb. Right. That was my problem starting out. I didn't get a traditional mortgage until about a year ago. I acquired, it was about 25, 30 plus properties before I ever got a mortgage. It was all owner financing.
Right.
I didn't let this go earlier when we talked.
Creative.
It was all vendor lien deeds. Okay. Owner financing. I borrowed the owner's equity and they just charged me 4, 5, 6% interest over 30 years. Same way as a bank. That was my way to get in without getting traditional financing. My favorite way to do real estate because I control everything on the back end. Nobody can call my loan due. I structure my own loan terms. Something that you can always do. Always recommend people find, you got maybe an uncle, one of your friends' parents, somebody that's older. I shot for about 40 to 60, 70 years old. I would go up to them and say, look, you got like 20, 30 rentals. Sell me one of them, owner finance it. You know, you might be making 12% off this property. What if I gave you 6% interest? That's a 6% spread for me. You don't have to pick up the phone in the middle of the night. Give me your worst rental. I want your worst problem. And you know, at 18 to 21, I was like, I'll take somebody calling me at 2 a.m. Not a big deal. I'm already up. Not a problem. Easiest way to get into real estate if you don't have the ability to get traditional financing. There's no excuse nowadays. And hard money loans are easier than they've ever been to get. You have the internet now. You literally just type in hard money loan.
Yeah.
You literally just type it in on Google. Like he said, the easiest part of real estate is the funding. The hardest part is just finding the deal, the needle in the haystack.
Yeah.
That is the hardest thing that you can do.
You know, that's crazy to hear you guys say, because like as a young buck, I haven't really grasped that in my brain yet. Like the funding is the easy part. Because me, I'm looking at it like, that's the money. Where the hell am I going to get the money?
Yeah.
So I guess that's a big hurdle. Did y'all both just jump that? At what point, let me ask you, at what point did that click where you're like, the funding's the easy part?
So I was stuck at the beginning because just like you, I was saying to myself, dude, I don't have $1 million or I don't have 200,000, I don't have 300,000. But if I got information and if I got knowledge of this game and I bring a quality deal, they'll fund the deal. So it took me actually 3 or 4 deals to realize that the real person of this whole transaction is the guy that got the deal. Everybody want the deal. Chase the deal, find the deal, right?
Exactly.
And when you do that, when you know that you have that type of power, you can go buy $4,000 apartment complexes and don't have the money in the account. We can backtrack it. We can do a reverse engineer and we can find the money. I have signed some deals where I didn't have the money. I actually left out, signed it on a purchase agreement, didn't have the money. And I walk outside, I'm looking in the sky like, God, where do I get the money from?
Man, didn't I just say that right beforehand? My last deal that I bought, the guy wanted it was like $300,000 down. I negotiated the deal and I signed it and I was like, all right, I got 30 days, whatever, this problem's for future Justin. I was in my head signing that thing like, where the hell am I about to get 300 grand? I forgot I was even buying the deal until 20 days go by and my appraisal got done. And then I was like, oh, we're closing in 10 days. 4 or 5 phone calls raised $300,000.
Dude, that's crazy.
Instantly. Just because finding the deal is so hard. But getting the money, dude, people are begging to lend out money right now.
That is so crazy to hear you guys say that. Because like as a young guy, and I'm sure y'all thought the same thing, that the funding was the hard part. What about, you said, let's take a few steps back to the flips. Was that the hard part? Like putting in the work, like, you know, flipping the house, fixing it up, all of that? Or did you not do that? Like, tell me that story.
So let me go back to what you was just speaking on. And I think this is real cool for everybody that's watching this video. My inventory has had 5 deals under contract, and I didn't know where none of the money was going. Not only that, I was like 2 weeks out for having to close on the deals before I recognized, because we was flipping houses. So I'm out there with my team, you know, I'm in the field. I don't have a big, huge staff. So I'm out there making sure all my guys are doing their thing. And I go back to the desk and I look at it and I say, God dang, I freaking got 5 houses under contract. I got to go find the money. So I get on the phone, each one of them, bam. This is the deal. These are the numbers. This is the ARV, the after repair value. This is the purchase price. This is the rehab, all this stuff. So I'm going through all the numbers and easily. Dude's like, hey, we'll wire the money over to you next week. And I'm like,
dude, it's so, it honestly, real estate is so simple. You can explain it. It's so easy. It's just executing it is hard. Finding the deal is hard. Everything else is going to be easy. It's just going to be experience at that point. You mentioned something. You shoot for 70% market value.
right.
You make your money when you buy real estate, not when you exactly own it. You're only making 6-10%, best case scenario usually. You make your money when you buy that real estate at 70% market value. Okay, so if you have a $100,000 house and you buy it at 70%, the moment you sign that paper, you just made $30,000 worth of equity before you closed on that property. Here's the magical part. If you can't find somebody to fund that deal, you can take that piece of paper. You always put your name or your LLC. This isn't legal advice, by the way. Contact a lawyer. At the bottom of every one of your purchase agreements, it should say, I blank and blank individual LLC and or assignable. Let me repeat that. And or assignable. If you put that one clause in there, which is less than a sentence, you can take that piece of paper, call me, call him, call anybody and say, I got a house. I bought it for 70K. I'll sell it to you for 85. It's worth 100. You make 15K. I make 15K. Split it down the middle. You can hold it as a rental, sell it to the open market, do whatever you want. You can call 500 plus people by the end of the day and you'll have them begging for it.
That's why I like real estate, man. It's so flexible. There's many ways to do deals. You just asked a moment ago about like contractors. And for me, that was the biggest hurdle, actually trusting people and not being at a point where you don't want to try out people. So what I did is at the beginning, I went to Home Depot, I went to Lowe's, and I basically almost set up a tent. I was waiting for everybody to come in and out, and I was just taking cards. And it was open mic day for me, So the next week, I bring somebody in, try them out. They do good. Okay, you sticking with me. Try them out on another project, and that's how I got my core guys. Since day one, I have the same contractors. And when you think about so many real estate guys, they have a problem with labor. I don't have problems with labor because I'm a good leader. People want to follow good leaders just like any marriage or anything else. They want to follow the leader. So when you're a good leader and you stand for something and you put your team together, then they want to follow you instantly. So I don't really have problems with labor, man. I just started having some little stuff. And guess what? Those are new guys that are now inside of my camp.
I got you. I was asking the question to talk more about delegation.
Okay.
Like you're not out there, slinging the wood up, fixing it up. You're not doing that because you wouldn't have the time in life, would you?
Right.
So speak a little bit on that. Like how has your life changed as you've developed in the game delegation wise? I think that's a big thing, big point we could touch on.
So one of my things when I got into entrepreneurship as a whole is I had a problem with letting go. I wanted to be involved in every aspect of whatever I was doing, whether it was opening up a gym or whether it was doing something with motivational speaking, whatever it was, I wanted to be a part of it. And what I realized is I was spending so much time trying to be a part of everything. So when you start delegating, you actually get your time back, which means you make more money. Not only do you make more money, you have more freedom because now you're putting it off on other people. And so that's what I did with the contracting stuff. I put a person in place, I trained him up, made sure he understand my ways, and now he's almost like a foreman for me. So he do what I would usually be doing, and now I'm going out and doing things that bring more money into the company and putting us in a better position.
That's awesome. I think that's so valuable. Like I'm the young buck here, I'm learning, and just as I've been around like more highly elevated people than me, I realize that they're all just buying time. That's really all they're doing. And it's just cool to see. I wanted you to say your take on that because I know the people need to hear that.
One of my strongest characteristic as a human being is being creative. And you can't be creative if you got so many things going in your mind. And the way to free up my mind is to get my time back. So I'm not having to worry about so many things. I was trying to worry about 15, 20 things at one time. I only got one brain. You know what I mean? Like I can't just walk around and just say, hey, you got 15 different brains. No, you have one brain, and it's important for you to be your very best, and your very best is being creative. So how do you be creative? You get your time back. And I'm looking at the whole grand scheme of things. I'm saying, hey, if I get my time back, then I can go work on buying this RV park, or I can go work on buying this apartment complex. So that's why I am right now. I'm like, delegate everything. Delegate the cleaner, the person that cook my meals, delegate the person that do the pool, the lawn service. I want everything delegated.
I gotcha. So let's talk about the brand for a second. You got a master's degree, right?
Yes, sir.
Would you think you've learned more with your master's degree or online educating yourself, like outside of college for like real estate, all kinds of other stuff, talking to people?
I think it's a combination. I think in school you learn how to communicate effectively. You learn how to network. You meet a lot of different people. I went to Clemson, so, you met people that's from India. You get a chance to meet a lot of people. But I will say, at the end of the day, being an entrepreneur and being a part of like different deals that I do now and, learning as you go type of thing, I've learned more outside of college. But both of them got their pros and their cons. But at the end of the day, I want to make sure that every single day I'm getting better, whatever I'm doing.
You mentioned about delegation. I'm going to touch back on that. Here's something that my mentor at 18 told me in our first meeting. How much do you think your time's worth per hour right now? Just guesstimate. Do you think your time's worth $250 an hour, $300 an hour? I mean, $400 an hour. What do you think it's worth?
So right now, just to go and speak, I'm usually around about 8,500. I speak for an hour.
Okay.
So my time, we're going to break it back down. My time is probably worth like $350.
$350 an hour. Okay. So that means if you go out and you swing a hammer and you can pay somebody else $15 an hour, you just lost out on, what's that, $335 right there?
Yeah.
That's something you guys need to really start thinking about. How much is your time worth? If you're getting paid $30 an hour and you can pay somebody else to do something for $15 an hour, you're losing $15 an hour if you do that job yourself. Now multiply that by 100, and that's how you scale. That's how you buy time. You only have 24 hours in a day. You hire 10 people, you now have 240 hours in a day.
I know somebody's watching the video and they saying to themselves, hey, you have cash reserve. You have money off to the side. I'll be honest with you because I'm a real dude. Sometimes the cash flow may get tight. That's the dark side to it. Like, you don't want it to always sound like all peachy and rosy and you just going and making deposits every single day. No, it's not like that. Sometimes the cash flow actually get low. But once you set your standard and once you say, hey, these are the things that I'm gonna do, you can't bend. Like, I know I'm gonna pay a trainer. I know I'm gonna pay somebody to cook my food. These are the things I gotta do. So it costs me more to not do those things. So you kind of commit. Once you commit to something, man, you just kind of like all in on that. And I don't bend, I don't break. A lot of real estate investors, they may want to talk about the highs and how much cash flow they get. But I talk about the lows and the pitfalls and the challenges and the obstacles.
Man, we're super transparent. I mean, his main thing is how much money he makes and loses every day. Man, I can't tell you how many deals have went south for me, but I take them as learning lessons. I learned what not to do next time.
Nice.
I remember our first podcast, I got liquidated. It was like $150,000, $100,000, $200,000 before even stepping foot in the studio. And I was just like, all right, cool. I know what not to do next time.
But you don't hear people talk about that. You don't hear people ever say anything bad. They just show all the good. And I mean, if you're a real dude and you're about it, you want to talk about some of the bad, like maybe those tough times after the college career and an injury. Like, do you want to talk about that? Is that cool?
Let's do this. Hey, have you ever bought a property that had termites, mold? When you went to go busting down that drywall and you open up, I call it a can of worms. When you bust that drywall open, your contractor smiles and you frown.
I would say that there's more people eating Roma noodles. Some people up north, they would say ramen noodles. I say it's more people eating that than filet mignon, right? Mm-hmm. So if it's more people that's doing that, then why I got to be fake? Why I got to run ads of fakeness? Yeah. I want to be real. I want to let people to know. Last year I lost $70,000 on one deal, right? I went into that deal and my mindset was, okay, I can sell this house for $425,000. I'm going to be all in at, what was it, like $325? So I'm like, dang, dude, I'm about to make bank $100K on this deal. Months and months passed by, got contracting problems with guys that we're bringing in that's not already a part of what we have going on. You have material that's backed up, and then all of a sudden the interest rates drop. So then this market that you was in that was extremely hot that you can freaking sell. I could sell this cup, this Boss cup, for $400 in that market that we had in 2020 and 18 and 19. I could sell anything in it, right? And so all of a sudden you get punched in the mouth, you lose $72,000 and nobody's around. You're not running ads about that. No. So what I want people to know that whatever you're doing, whether it's real estate or whatever you're doing, you are going to take hits. You are going to take licks. It's just you make up your mind that this failure is really not a failure. This is just an opportunity for me to get back up, right?
You're absolutely right.
And that's coming from a man that literally lost like $72,000. We haven't even closed on that deal. It's under contract, supposed to close on the 27th, which is 7 days away. But we haven't closed on that deal. Anything can happen to that deal. We still in dilemma. Right now, we're losing $72,000. So that's the deal I like to talk about.
Hey, and here's something else. He just said he's still in limbo. You do not sell or buy a piece of property until you leave that title office with a check or a deed. You never know. I've had deals crumble 20 minutes before closing at the closing table. Do not get confident. Be outcome independent. Be aware that everything can go south at any given moment. Be prepared for the worst, okay? Be prepared to take an L. You know, you take 100 L's, you win once. That's a win in my book.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's learning experience. You're better than the guy that never tried. You
Right.
know, you could have some guy he's done 5 deals back to back to back to back, won every single one of them. His confidence is through the roof. Man, if you've taken 20, 30 L's, you're so much better in my eyes because you're consistent with it. You are outcome independent. You are against the market. You're going to get hit. If you get overconfident in real estate, you're going to get hit hard. And luckily, you were in a position to lose 72K and still be smiling.
Well,
imagine doing that your first deal.
Yeah.
You would have been wiped out from the start. So be glad that you got that far into it before taking that hit, because that's a blessing in my eyes that, you know, you can survive that pretty much.
I look at it like this. I went to a $72,000 mastermind. That's the way I look at it. I was able to learn firsthand some challenges and some obstacles. Now this same deal, if it presents itself to me again, I'm gonna knock it out the park. Plain and simple. You can't get me 2 times, right? So that's why I am with the whole thing. And the way that I look at it is, I can bounce back. Mm-hmm. You know, right now, American Express may be my best friend. They love me right now because we're holding a lot of inventory on their credit card. Mm-hmm. But at the end of the day, I got to do what I got to do to get where I want to go. Right? I'm not one of those guys that retreat. I like to go through whatever I need to go through to accomplish what I need to accomplish.
Man, that's a clip right there.
Yeah.
So tell me this one. You say you got a bunch of money on your American Express card. A lot of people don't understand the difference between good debt and bad debt. And I'm imagining that this company card is attached to your LLC, or is it in your personal?
It's attached to my LLC.
So here's a little bit of advice. This is not financial advice, by the way. Contact your lawyer or whoever. I didn't know that your personal credit had a limit to where if you cross over the 30% threshold, your credit goes down, until I started doing a bunch of flips, remodels, you know. I ran up a huge credit card bill. My credit score just started tanking. I was like, what is this? I'm using my credit. That's not working. When you switch that over into a company card, you know, an LLC, corporation, whatever you got, you can run that limit up past 30%. Okay. You realistically, on your personal line, want to be under 15%, and your score goes right through the roof. It goes straight vertical. When you have a company card, you could run that thing up to 99% and it doesn't touch your personal credit. Huge, that a lot of people don't know. If you have an LLC and you don't have a company card attached to that, that isn't paying for a majority of your business expenses, you are messing up. You know, my personal line is probably less than like $2,000 or $3,000 a month. My Amex, 50 plus K a month with construction. Does not affect my personal line. Personal credit goes up. Business credit score, not really a thing. Doesn't matter to me. A little bit of advice for the younger folks out there.
Yeah, that's a nice little cheat code. Let's stay on that topic though and talk about debt, because like you said, a lot of people don't know the difference between good debt and bad debt, and real estate is the king of good debt. Am I wrong? Do either of you guys want to touch on that? I think the audience could really benefit from that.
I hope you reevaluated since our last conversation. What's a goal you have for when you die? How much money you want to be in debt when you die? That's a good one, right?
Me personally?
Yeah.
100 million.
Oh man, you stealing mine, aren't you? You like that, don't you?
I want to be 100 million in debt plus.
What?
That's
Yeah.
gonna
$100
shake.
million? No, dude. Why would you want to be in $100 million worth of debt?
Man, you want to take it over or you want me to do this?
I'll let you run it.
Man, okay, so I've been telling people I want to be $100 million in debt the day that I die, and I'm going to give it to my kids and say, you're welcome. And people they're like, you can see the gears just get frozen, you know, the light bulb just kind of goes off, they're blowing a fuse, they're like, why on earth would you want to do that? If I've got $100 million worth of debt in real estate, I'm making no less than $4 to $6 million a year cash flow. And I don't know about you. I could probably live off $4 to $6 million a year. Okay. That's a 4 to 6% cap rate right there. Capitalization rate means how much money you're making after expenses. Between 4 to 6 million at $100 million worth of debt, man, I don't know. Like, I'm going to have to go, you know, shopping, you know, use my coupons, maybe go for the Wendy's 4 for $4. I'm going to have to struggle a little bit. I got to budget my money.
Yeah, $4 million, that's a tough one.
I think I could live off that. All right. And that's not even factoring in the equity. Okay. If I die with 100 million, there's no way I don't have a portfolio worth 125 or 150. Okay.
Right.
So I've let my debt mature over the course of my life. And let's say hypothetically, I don't even touch it. I tell my kids, don't sell this property for 30 years. After 30 years, do whatever you want with it. I'm going to imagine that real estate probably increased by about 20, 30, 40% over 30 years. Conservatively, it's probably a lot more than that. My debt just 1.5'd itself. I might have $150 million, $200 million worth of real estate now after 30 years. And I'm still getting paid cash flow, which is going up every year. Okay. Real estate debt is good debt. Personal credit card debt is bad debt. Vehicle debt, bad debt. Okay. Learn the difference between good debt and bad debt. And the best way I can explain that is good debt pays you. Bad debt doesn't pay you. Okay. Good debt pays you. And real estate is super simple. If you have basic multiplication skills, basic addition and math skills, you can do real estate. Now, I'm a high school dropout. I'm also a college dropout after getting my GED. Everything past 8th grade was irrelevant for me when it comes to real estate. You don't have to be a genius, okay? You do not have to be a genius. High school dropout, and I think I got about $12, $15 million worth of real estate now. Don't let anybody tell you that you have to be a genius, you have to have a degree, you have to come from a rich family. Absolutely not. Basic multiplication and subtraction.
Man, I had to fight, claw, be rejected. Real cool story. I think I told it on the podcast I was on recently. I was rejected by the bank multiple times and on purpose. Mm-hmm. I knew I didn't have the credit, right? But I had to teach myself how to be rejected. I had to teach myself as a football player, you know, you the big shot. You the middle linebacker. You started in college football 3 years. You the guy, right? And when you get out and all of a sudden you fall on your face, you got to teach yourself how to be rejected by the world. And that's what I did. I went to the bank over and over and over again to be rejected. Then I had to teach myself how to put myself in position to be bankable and how to be able to utilize being bankable and tying that in with being connected to private lenders and how all this works into the triangle. And if you put it correctly and you make sure that you keep these relationships going and keep those healthy, you can have a little bit on your American Express card, because all it's going to do is drop my credit score here and there a little bit, and then I'm going to come back up to be exactly where I need to be. And I learned just the moves that I need to make to be where I need to be at that point. Just plain and simple. That I make all my deals off that.
Let me add on to that. The bank, when they reject you, isn't always a bad thing. See, you're supposed to underwrite the deal yourself. And for those of you who don't know what that means, it means you're structuring the deal, you're doing the math, you're seeing what the risk to reward ratio is. The bank, when you use traditional finance, and a lot of private lenders, majority of them are going to have a whole underwriting process. If they reject you, it's a bad deal. Let me repeat that. They're going to ask for an appraisal. Right. They're going to ask for what the possible cash flow is going to be, what the current cash flow is going to be. If the bank rejects you, that's not a bad thing, because they just saved you from buying a bad deal. The bank is your friend. You know, the guy in the lending department underwriting your deal, he is probably looking at it probably twice as hard as you are. He's got a ton of more experience than you. You know, a lender, their underwriters do it all day, every day, around the clock pretty much. You probably don't have more experience than them. Use the bank as your friend. Private lenders too. You know, the company that I use out of Texas, last conversation I had, I think they have like 50 underwriters in-house that are just looking at deals all day, saying yes or no.
Weapon.
Yes or no.
Yeah.
They can underwrite a deal in no time. I use them as a tool to myself. So let's touch on another thing.
That's the hidden employee.
Yeah.
The hidden employee is being able to say, okay, this private lender or this hard money lender is really not against me. I can actually use them for me.
They want you to win.
And they'll go out and look at the deal and say, hey, no, these numbers don't make sense. And that actually helped me out with my learning curve at the beginning, being able to call that hard money lender up and say, hey, look, can you go evaluate this deal and tell me if this a deal, if you'll fund this deal? If he say, no, I won't fund the deal, 9 times out of 10, because he's been in the game so long, he understands the numbers, he's actually saving me from a bad deal. And it's many deals that I got into along this journey that I probably would not have been into if I would have just followed that process, you know? So hard money lending, being able to use those guys, utilize them. You know, they're there to turn down deals on purpose. It's probably going to save you thousands and thousands of dollars.
So What's your business plan from here on out? Are you going to keep flipping, or are you going to focus on more long-term holds, Airbnb? What's your strategy going to be like now that the market's shifting? You can't just flip properties like you were 2 years ago, a year ago. Right. We're in a different market right now. If you're flipping, you need to be very careful, because every time they raise those interest rates, the equity in your home just got cut. A lot of people don't understand that. We're in a very risky market to flip right now. But like we were saying earlier, it doesn't matter what the economy does. It doesn't matter what the market does. I am my own market. I dictate my own finances. When I walk into a deal, whether it's a good market or a bad market, that doesn't matter to me, because I'm buying it at about 70% market value right now. Okay. And I don't plan to sell my deals for about 5 years. That's the difference between flipping and long-term holds. If I'm not prepared to hold it for 5 years, I don't even buy it. Okay. Realistically, I want to hold that property for the rest of my life. Okay. So tell me what your strategy is going to be over the next year now that flipping is going to be a little bit riskier.
Right. So I'm going to become more selective in the deals that I buy. I won't take on 15 homes at one time. I won't take on 20 homes at one time. We have had a lot of inventory in the hot market flipping those houses. And so now what I'm doing is I'm playing Monopoly. Right. I'm playing Monopoly. I'm going to do more buy and holds. I'm going to get more passive. I have about 3 Airbnbs going. We're doing some things with apartment complexes that we're looking at, some deals we're trying to get into, because I want to get passive. I want to get $30,000 to $40,000 coming in a month, whether I'm in Costa Rica or whether I'm with my mom and my sisters watching, Netflix,
nice. It's nice.
Something like that, right? I want to get myself in that position, and that's the goal, is to be able to evaluate enough deals and get enough deals in front of me that I can either turn them down or act on them, to get enough deals in front of me so that I can say, hold it. I want to be a flipper on this deal, or I want to turn around and I want to make this a buy and hold. 9 times out of 10 right now, I'm holding everything.
And the good part about buying and holding, see, I started out with the buy and hold strategy. If you flip a property or you buy and hold it, it's still the same startup process. You're trying to get that home for 70%, 80% market value. I always shop for 70%. After you sign that paper, you have the option to sell it to someone else. In my brain, I just said, if I can sell this tomorrow, I can make a quick 15%. If I hold it, I make 30% from day one, and now I'm going to make 8, 10, 15, 12%, whatever the cap rate is every year. So my money's going to compound. And when you flip, you're going to get taxed by Uncle Sam. Okay. You're going to lose 20, 30% of that income off the jump. And as a flipper, okay, a lot of people don't factor in their taxes. When you flip that property,
capital gain,
they are going to report that at the title company. Okay. You're going to get a fat bill from Uncle Sam at the end of the year. You flip 10 homes, you make 300 grand. You owe the government like 90K now. And at the end of the year, if you spend all that money, you're going to be scratching your head when they're coming for that. So when you flip, you're going to get taxed more, okay? It is a good way to raise a lot of capital really quickly. But the ideal scenario is what's called the Burr method, okay? If you don't know what that is, Google it. We'll probably attach it above. You buy it, you rehab it, you rent it, okay? And you see where I'm going with this. And then you refinance it, okay? Which means you buy it at 70%, you cash out, refinance it for either with a HELOC, whatever you want, at 85, 95%, okay? You just pulled your equity back out, it's cash flowing, you go and you just do that over and over and over again. I did that without even realizing it over and over again before it became popular. Buy it, fix it, hold it, and just keep repeating that process, okay? And always pull your equity back out. You know, I'm a firm believer, I want as much debt as possible. Other people's money doesn't scare me. Like I was saying earlier, I want to be $100 million in debt when I die. It's just a game at that point. How many deals do I got to buy to hit $100 million in debt? I'm like, 1/20th, 15th of the way there right now. Yeah. I just got to keep going.
That's cool. And you're young too.
By the time I'm like 50, man, if I ain't $50 million in debt, I'm doing something wrong.
You're just getting started.
And that's a weird perspective. See, everybody's like, oh, I want $50 million worth of real estate. It's like, let's shift that. That's going to be real hard to do. Let's get $50 million in debt first. Let's get $50 million worth of mortgages, and we'll figure out where it goes from there.
I'll tell you, one of the things that really got me into house flipping outside of HGTV on something on just like on surface deep So I was going into the bank one day and I looked at the ATM machine and I saw the name of the company that was on it. And I envisioned the ATM saying May. And I was like, dang, how do I make this ATM say May? Okay, there you go. House flipping. So if I can build up enough capital, I can take this money and put it into buying homes. And all of a sudden you have a funnel in place. I basically created my own funnel where I'm flipping houses. That's my ATM. And then I go and beep, beep, 265544, whatever my number is, whatever my code is. And I pull the money out and I put it into buying homes. And now I got cash flow coming back and forth every month. So that's what I'm doing. That's the shift right now. Initially, when I started, it was just about, okay, how many houses can we flip? How much money can we make? And I started looking at, I can do 300K this whole year. I can do 400K net profit. But no, it's like, okay, if you do 200,000, you do 300,000, where you going to put the money at? Let that be the ATM. So house flipping for me became the ATM. Now my name is on the ATM machine. That's my philosophy. We'll still flip. It's just going to be very, very selective deals that I can be in at the purchase and also rehab of the home. 50%, 55%, like just steals. Like it don't even make sense. Like knocking out the park, home run type of deals. Those are the deals that I'm looking for at this point. But I'm fascinated with May ATM. I like my name on the ATM machine.
Hey, so let me give you all a little bit of free game. Like I said, I can't say this enough. I am not your accountant. I'm not your lawyer. To get around or to delay the taxes, you can do what's called a 1031 tax exchange with real estate. So let's say he goes to flip this home. All right. He puts it into escrow at closing, which means a middleman, a lawyer, a title company holds those funds. He then has it's between 90 to 180 days, depending on what state you're in, to purchase another property, and all the capital gains has to roll over into that next property to delay the taxes. Okay. Here's a little bragging moment. I took the first flip that I ever did, and I flipped the property on accident. It was just a complete accident while I flipped this property. I didn't even mean to. I took the capital gains from one single family house, which was only about 25, 30K. I used that as part of a down payment for a purchase agreement on a warehouse. Okay. So flipping one property bought me almost a $425,000 warehouse. It was like a 1,500, 1,800 square foot single family home. Went into a 33,000 square foot warehouse that I still own to this day. Flipping one home, the cash flow was maybe $200, $300 a month off that property, renting it long term. Now I've got a warehouse that's paying me $4,200 a month just from flipping one home with a 1031 tax exchange, paid no taxes. 1031 tax exchange, if you don't know what that is, Google it. Learn how to play the system, okay? There's a reason why the wealthy are so wealthy. There's a reason why, most of the rich top 1% pay less taxes than most employees. There's a reason behind that. Learn to use the system. It is there to help you win, okay? 1031 tax exchange. Homestead exemption. Learn these things. Learn what a net operating income is, an NOI. Learn what a cap rate is, okay? Learn what a 203K loan is. Learn the basic verbiage of real estate. Just get on Google. It's not that hard in 2023 now. You have YouTube, you have podcasts, you have books, you have Millionaire in the Making. Like, comment, and subscribe. You have people like Brandon. You got people like me. You got people like Gage. We're here to help you. If you can offer one bit of advice to yourself, if you could go back in time to 18 years old, one bit of financial advice in about a minute or less, what would it be?
Play Monopoly fast. Play Monopoly fast. Sometimes we play board games that move and it's a big reward instantly, which is like house flipping, but very few people think Monopoly. The wealthy people think, how do I get my time back? How do I get my freedom back? And the wealthy people also visualize themselves not being here on earth. What would I leave behind? So that they can get the same thing. And that's the game changer, man. That's the people that got their name on every building in whatever city it is. Their family is eating off that, and they continue to eat off that. That's what drives me now. At first it was like, okay, let's flip this house. We're gonna make 20,000. We're gonna make 30,000. But now sitting back after doing it for 2 years straight, and you look at it and you're like, oh, okay, you know what? Let's put that board game up and let's get Monopoly out. And let's play it aggressive. Let's play it just like we was doing with the house flipping. Let's do it on the same level. Let's use all the same. One thing about it, dude, and you know it. One thing about it is when you plan real estate, it's the same type of formulas for every deal. It's just the players change. Whether you buy and hold or you flipping or whatever, it's the same type of 70%. You know, just understanding that stuff goes a long way. You just put the deals together. You don't have to be deep. You don't have to have all the money in the bank. You just got to have that information and knowledge.
The good thing too, like you said, the players change. The math don't really change that much. 3% is 3%, 30% is 30%. It don't matter if you're doing a $100,000 deal or a $100 million deal. The process is about the same. And that was a learning curve too for me. I kept going after just low-hanging fruit, low-hanging deals. I was like, it takes just as much work to buy a 10-unit apartment complex as it does one single-family home. Yeah. Let me repeat that. It's the same stroke of a pen. It's almost the same exact math. It is not rocket science, okay? Don't be afraid of the bigger deals, okay? Start out with a couple of small ones, you know, have your training wheels on, but after about 3, 4, or 5 deals, really start shooting for those bigger deals. Massive, massive quality of life changes, okay? The next thing is, where do you think you got comfortable after 5 flips, 4 flips? You know, how many rental properties do you have right now?
So I got 3 rentals and 3 Airbnb, so 6 total.
You have 6 total.
6 total.
Airbnb is the cheat code, by the way.
Yeah, it is a cheat code.
My life did not change really until I got about 10 rentals long term. And that matched my income around that time.
Right.
Nowadays, with Airbnb being so easy, you could just have 1, 2, or 3 single family properties, duplex, triplex. That'll change your life. You know, 3 Airbnbs is like 10 long-term rentals now.
All right.
So where do you think your life got comfortable at? About 5 flips, 4 flips? Was it the first flip? Shit,
Yeah,
I bet after your first flip, you were feeling pretty good.
It's easy to get comfortable when you do multiple successful deals. It's very easy for you to say, okay, if I walk in this house, it's going to cost me $70,000 without you going through the same process that you did on house number 1. Understanding that I got a spreadsheet. The sheetrock costs this much, the paint costs this much, the flooring costs this much, and keep doing that same process. Keep doing that over and over and over instead of getting so cocky that you walk in and say, hey, man, you can't tell me nothing. I know it's going to cost me $70,000. And then you turn around and you pull some sheetrock off the wall, and now all of a sudden you got termite damage all over the place. That's an additional $10,000. But because you got so cocky, you got in your own way, you stunt your growth, and now you're losing money on deals. So whatever that process is that you create for yourself, stick with that process. Don't cheat the process, whatever it is. If you evaluate residential homes, evaluate multifamily homes the same way. It's the same thing. You may have 100 units in front of you. You may have 1 unit in front of you. Just break it down, come up with the numbers, and then move on the deal. I got a friend named Paul Lawson.
Paul's coming on Tuesday. Y'all are going to love that episode.
Yeah. One of my good friends is Paul. So Paul was a manager for a car dealership. Then he went and worked for a local wholesaling company, kind of learned the trades, right? So he got in the right environment to learn everything. So don't be afraid, guys, to get in the right environment. So he got in the right environment, learned how to move. He moved himself up the ladder there, started selling and teaching people how to sell. So he became the sales manager. And then he went out, he took the information and started buying RV parks all over the place, like thousands of units.
Dude, no, he's at like 700 units right now.
He texted me, He was like, B, look, it's cool, play big. That's what he told me coming to the year, play big. He always telling me that, play big. So that's what I'm on. He's like, B, it's the same process.
I got Paul coming on Tuesday. I introduced him to Paul a couple weeks ago. Man, Paul is a wonderful man. I just had if you know Kevin Moeller was on last week. Good friends, man. We have so many of the same friends. I don't know how we haven't bumped into. We probably have, honestly. Probably have. So
I'll be so out there, bro. We probably have.
Yeah. Let's take a step away from real estate, because I mean, I wouldn't be able to sleep at night knowing I walked away from this and didn't dive deeper into you, because I know you're deeper than real estate.
Yeah.
You went through some shit that a lot of kids go through. A lot of kids are down and out. What do you say to those kids to just get up and go? Because you built a life that is respectable now, and you probably felt like shit for a minute there.
Yeah. I appreciate you actually moving the subject to the inside, right? I tell people all the time, you can be You can be wealthy as possible, and you can be in all these other countries. You can do whatever you want to do. But who are you as a man or as a woman in the inside? When I cut you open, when it's all said and done, and there's no more life left in your body, who are you? What will you be remembered for? Do you have integrity? Do you move with integrity? You got dignity? Like, who are you? And when you understand who you are, everything else is a byproduct. So if it was somebody that was down and out right now and wanted to give up, I would say really search and dig deep into why you started. Why did you even get started? And if you lost your why, you start to repurpose your why. And if you can't find a why, make up a why. I tell people all the time, look, we're going to survive, we're going to stabilize our life, and then we're going to thrive. Survive, stabilize, and then we're going to thrive. And that's been my motto. Like, sometimes in life when you get punched in the face, like, dude, you just got to almost like a boxer in that 10th round, you just got to find a way. I don't even know if it's 10 rounds in boxing, but I'm just going to say 10 rounds. In that 10th round, dude, when you get punched, you really want to just like give up. Your head is spinning, but you remember why you started. You revert back to your training. You revert back to, as a boxer, running and lifting and everything else. You prepare for this moment. And people that's watching this video, there's been moments, there's been dreams, there's been visions that you have set up for yourself. And you owe you, right? You owe yourself to keep going and not stop during this moment. You owe your family to keep going. And that's what I told myself. That's how I got to this point that I am today. Do I have everything perfect? Do I have everything in place? No, but I'm striving and I'm surviving. And then eventually we'll get back to thriving. You know, when you have this market shift like this, you have to find a way to just stay above the water. You know, you may not have a life jacket out there. You may have to just stay above the water until you meet guys like you guys to come and say, hey, man, look, I want you to be on the podcast because I know you have something for my viewers to see and hear. And that's thriving to me. This is thriving to give back, right? So that's what I would say, man. Survive, stabilize your life, get back to the basics, whether it was reading, whether it was running, whatever, I don't know, whatever a person do to kind of ground their mind, ground their thoughts, get back to that. And then I promise you sooner or later, you're going to be thriving again.
Man, you touched on an interesting part of that. Just because it's a bad market doesn't mean there's not opportunities too. Okay. In a bad market, it's easier to buy deals. The people that have been playing the game right, man, the fact that we're in, or the opinion, I guess, that we're in a bad, down, declining real estate market right now, I see opportunities in about 6, 7, 8 months when people are drowning, people who are over leveraged, people who didn't play the long-term game. They're going to be selling those properties. There's going to be a lot of foreclosures. There's going to be people that, their mortgages are due. They just can't pay it because they played the game wrong. It's time for the sharks to wake up at that point. Most of the millionaires that were made in 2009 after the biggest recession in over like 60 years. More property was bought in like 2009 than almost ever up until the past couple of years. When the markets take a shift, that's when the real players who deserve to be there thrive. And you played football, okay? You probably liked a muddy field. You liked it after it rained probably because you know that your opponents probably didn't train for that.
All right.
You know that every advantage you can would help you. So let's get back. Let's dive into your football career. I liked how he was shifting that a little bit. When did you really start noticing you were going to take off with football? Was it around the 5th grade, 6th grade? When did it really just, click for you?
When you born with that dog in you, bro. No, seriously.
I get you. When you got that animal inside you.
When you born with that dog in you, man, what create the dog? So that's what we get back to. Because I always tell people, hey, look, when you got that dog in you, you can't teach it. You can't just wake up and magically appear. There is no competition because you're always at war with yourself. You're always trying to get better. And that was the way that I created myself, where I was always fighting one-on-one with myself to get better. I didn't start in high school until my senior year. Like, I was the underdog. I was the 2-star recruit. Nobody gave a chance. Coaches said I would never play on the football field. But I just made it up. I just made up my mind that, look, I know what you're saying, but what you're saying don't line up with who I am. And who I am is what I trained to be. right? Who I am is what I train to be. So all those hours working with the team and then also working with a personal trainer, my mom didn't have much money at the time, but she was hiring that personal trainer because she already saw what I was already becoming. And so I just made up my mind, look, you can't put no limitations on me. Don't put no border on me. I hear what you're saying, and to be honest with you, tonight when I'm training, I will use what you're saying, but I'm going towards something bigger. So for football, my biggest push was always trying to be better than the competition myself, right? And my senior year of high school, that's when I knew, oh, I got a chance. I was making tackles all over the place. We had like the #1 player in the country on our team. So I tell them all the time, look, if you bring the scouts to the party, I'm going to entertain them. Just bring the scouts to the party. You look to the sideline, you see Nick Saban, you see all these big-time college coaches, and I would just put on the show. You know, I was ready for the show. I prepared myself for the show. I prepared myself for the moment. I never let a moment sneak up on me. I'm already preparing for it. So when it comes, I'm going to seize the moment. And that's what I was doing with football, and that's what I do in life, and that's what I do with business. Business is just a byproduct, to be honest with you. Money is cool, but when I'm all done with life, people be able to say, like Martin Luther King, people like that, the name live on forever. The business is just a byproduct.
Do you think that your life wouldn't have went the way that it went right now if you never played football? Do you think football gave you a spot to channel your energy, learn the disciplines, and really prepare you for the business world? There's a lot of similarities between football and business.
Football was a lifesaver for me. Like I told you, I grew up in the hood. Mm-hmm. And the things that was going on around me, by me having football as an escape, I was able to kind of maneuver myself away from some of those things, and having a solid parent and stepdad. I think without football, some of the discipline and things that you said, the characteristics that football built up, I wouldn't have inside of me. So I'm able to use that platform now that football gave me to go across the country and speak and run my mouth. In some words, I don't even say right. But when I run my mouth, people know that, hey, it's for real. Something changes when I go to people companies. Something changes when I speak to their sports team. That's something different. I think the biggest thing is football gave me an advantage on what I was seeing. I was seeing drugs, and I was seeing killings, and I was seeing all this negative, but it was the one positive thing that I had in my life that I knew that, hey, look, if I can like gravitate to this thing and build up on it, then one day my mom won't have to work. You know, one day my sisters won't have to go through this. I can like change my family. So when the injury happened, I hit like rock bottom. I had a failed suicidal attempt. I really lost my purpose, didn't see my worth no more. I didn't have this thing that I was holding on to. My identity was wrapped up in football. And that's what a lot of investors do too. And I know it's a money podcast. So a lot of investors, we make the mistake and we begin to wrap our identity up in things that are gonna fail us one day. And I'm reverting back now, and I'm like, man, look, those things don't even matter no more. You know, those things, those material items that I was chasing don't matter no more. So now I'm just trying to position myself, playing Monopoly, to be at a point where one day my mom can say, oh, he still went to the NFL. He still went to the NFL in life. She's already saying it. But football was the game changer for me.
So I'm assuming family is your why.
Yeah, that's my why.
I can respect and resonate with that. I always said, you know, I didn't come from the most wealthy family. I didn't come from a broke family. But I guarantee you my great-great-grandchildren are going to come from an extremely wealthy family through real estate. There's things you can do in real estate to preserve your wealth and pass it from generation to generation. There's going to be properties that I put in a trust that you're never allowed to sell. Right. Never, ever. I know that if, God forbid, my great-grandchild comes out maybe mentally handicapped, he's going to be taken care of for life. I know that when my dad is incapable of taking care of himself, I can hire an in-home nurse. I know that, you know, if something were to ever happen to me after I have a couple of kids, they'll be taken care of for life. 5 generations, 6 generations, 20 generations down the road. It's not your fault if you're born broke. It is your fault if you die broke.
That's good stuff.
Generational wealth is very attainable through real estate. Playing Monopoly. You know, imagine if, say, the day that you were born, you had 10 rentals to your name, where do you think you'd be in life right now? A lot further.
Yeah, a lot further.
So imagine when one day, if you have kids, you, the day that they're born, open up an LLC.
Yeah.
You put your kid on it. You put you on it. You get a, credit card. You get some tax returns for 10, 15 years. The moment your kid turns 18, he's got a 750, 775, 800 credit score. He's got a property that's 3/4 of the way paid off, 2 or 3 or 4. Okay. And now at the age of 18 years old, he can go get a loan for $500,000, $250,000. Imagine if somebody did that for you.
Yeah.
Might not have been possible at the time you were 18, but when your kids turn 18, that's now a possibility for you. Now imagine what that's going to do for 3 or 4 generations down the road when you instill those values in them. Imagine whenever your kids turn 14, you tell them, look, if you want an allowance, 13, 12, honestly, you tell them, hey, if you want an allowance, you're going to go cut the grass at our rental property, your rental property. You're going to find a new tenant. You're going to go fix that leaky toilet. You're going to go fix that leaky pipe. And I'm going to pay you hourly to do that out of the rent that you get. All the rent money's going into a trust for, a college fund maybe. You show them how to buy real estate at 14. Now imagine if somebody was doing that to you at 14. And let's say by the age of 16, you've identified 2 or 3 rental properties. And it's a game. It's just like Monopoly in real life. You show your kids how to position themselves right. Teach them how to play Monopoly young. Show them how to do it in real life. You could be 14 years old identifying property. I'm more than convinced you could do it. You show them, hey, look, find a house with a tarp on the roof. Find a house where the grass is more than 2 feet high. Find a house with a busted window, probably an abandoned owner. And you're going to write the letter. You're going to try to buy that house. And I'm just going to make sure you're not doing anything wrong. I'm going to review all your work. Imagine if they learned how to buy 2 or 3 or 4 properties from 14 to 16. You know how much ahead of their peers they're going to be? And these are things that I'm more than positive you could probably teach kids.
Yeah, that's the wealthy side of it, man. When you ride around town and you see all these common names of builders and investors on the buildings, you're like, dang, you know what? That's cool to walk in this building, but who bought this building? And then you look around and you say, oh, okay, that company? How about one day that company has my name up there? And that's when I really started saying, hey, look, it's time to play Monopoly. The flipping, that's cool. That's more, I looked at flipping as more of building yourself up, creating that ATM, but the legacy to it is playing the Monopoly and getting the buy and holds, the rental houses, the apartment complexes, whatever sector you decide to go, getting in those lanes. You said something earlier about what's one of the biggest things that football has taught me. It's been positioning. The low man always win. And understanding that your coaches say that over and over and over and they get repetitive. And you use a quarterback, so you've heard it. The low man on defense always win. The low man on offense always win. If 2 people run up together, the low man wins. So you understand positioning. So now as I'm doing my real estate deals, I remember that coach said the low man win. So if I go in and I'm in the bidding war, I understand whatever I got to do to get this property under contract at the amount that I needed at, I need to be doing. So the low man in real estate would be like, I may have to stay up a little bit longer to evaluate this deal. He may go to sleep early. He may be tired. So he may go to sleep early. When I wake up in the morning, I had this deal under contract because my email would get there first. So I learned how to position myself. Playing middle linebacker, playing in front of 100,000 people, and you run up and you got to hit a quarterback like Cam Newton or something like that in the open field. You're like, dang, dude, he's 6'4", 250-some pounds. If I get too high, he's going to knock me out. Even though I'm a linebacker, it doesn't matter. But if you're positioned correctly, then you'll be successful. Same way in real estate. If you position yourself correctly on the front end of the deal, you don't have to worry about the deal going sour because you have multiple exit strategies. You can get out of the deal. Plain and simple. I can go into a deal right now. Any deal that I have going on, any flip, anything that I have going on right now today, I can get out of that deal and it won't cost me nothing because I position myself correctly. Now I got leverage.
An exit strategy is something we didn't even touch on. Every one of my deals has an inspection clause, an insurance clause, an internet clause. I have every clause known to man because I know that at any moment if I smell foul play, if I smell anything that I don't like, I walk. I'm good. I'm free. A lot of people think that just because you sign that contract, you're locked down to it. And there is some times where you are locked down to it. But if you hire a good lawyer you have a good team, you have some good advisors, you surround yourself with the right group. These are all things that they can help you with from the jump, okay? Your net worth is your network. Your network is your net worth. You are the company that you keep. And I'm a firm believer in this, man. You are not stronger than peer pressure. Your friends will get you into trouble, okay? If you're not surrounded by friends that want you to succeed, if you're not surrounded by people that want to breathe life into you, the conversations aren't positive. They don't even have to be grinding, trying to be millionaires. They just need to breathe life into you. There's a lot of people in your life right now, if you're listening to, all they want to do is go get drunk this weekend and do something stupid, okay? There's probably a couple friends that, hey, you might want to get drunk this weekend. There's nothing wrong with that. And they want to talk about how you can make some money. They want to celebrate their success. Pick who you align yourself with. We just made a video last week explaining how hustle culture sucks. A lot of people are trying to hustle their way to success. You need to align yourself with the success. You need to think smart. You need to be efficient, okay?
Positioning, just like you
said. You can go out there, construction workers have some of the most manual intensive jobs ever. They're getting paid $15 an hour. Working hard doesn't always win, okay? And that's going to hurt a lot of people's feelings because they're working hard. They're working 3 or 4 jobs at one time. Man, I've been there. Trust me, I've been there. Shift your thinking into, how do I make the most of my time right now? Let's get efficient. Let's start moving in the right direction, okay? Let's walk first in the right direction instead of running 100 miles an hour in the wrong direction, okay? Set a target, reverse engineer it like you said. You want to flip, 1 property in 1 year. That's a doable goal, all right? You say, all right, how do I get this 1 property? Let's start cold calling. Let's start sending out mailers. Let's start door knocking. Start doing everything you can. Figure out how to do that 1 property. Next year, let's do 5. The year after that, let's do 10. The year after that, let's buy 3 or 4 rentals. The year after that, let's buy 10. The year after that, let's buy 20. Let's just keep doubling up every year. It's for as long as possible. Align yourself with success. And one of the best ways that I can tell younger people how to do that is find a group of about 4 to 5 people. Your friends, could be your family, could be older people. Spend as much time with them as possible. Have a weekly meeting, like a goal setting meeting. Say, hey, look, we're all on the football team, all right? Let's do an extra hour of training every week outside of practice. We're going to be that much ahead of everybody else, okay? You got a group of 5 friends. You all say, hey, look, we're going to try to learn how to day trade. We're going to compare notes. Or you got a group of 5 friends. You say, damn, we only got 2 or 3 or 4 grand a piece, but with 5 of us, we could all go in on 1 property together. You can start making moves. Align yourself with a group of people that can complement your weaknesses, okay? Align yourself with people that have long-term vision, okay? You are not stronger than peer pressure. All it takes is 1 bad apple to ruin the whole bunch. 1 negative friend. 1 wrong partner could undo your entire empire. Be very selective on who you associate with. And I think you could probably resonate with that. How many of your childhood friends do you still associate with right now? If you, let's say you were in the hood, how many of the people that you grew up with on your block do you still probably associate with?
Probably not many.
Okay.
Because they're not available to be associated with. They're either dead or in jail.
Yeah.
Just being honest. Choices and decisions that you make, and nobody's exempt, right? Meaning that the same road that some of my friends traveled, I could have traveled.
Mm-hmm.
I can be high today and I can be low tomorrow, and understanding that I'm not exempt from that. Now I'm in a position mentally where I take full coverage over my mind and what I'm involved in and the individuals that I deal with daily. I don't deal with a lot of people that talk money all day, but I deal with a lot of people that talk money most of the day, right? I don't deal with a lot of people that talk family all day, but I deal with a lot of people that talk family some of the day, right? So having that mixed crowd of individuals that will pull out the very best in you and not people that's just sucking on you like a leech, that's very important, because you can put yourself in a position where every day you're getting pulled on and you're getting tugged on, and before you know it, that's no you when it's time to go to sleep at night. And you do that consistently, then you discover that, hey, look, I never really lived. Every day I was sucked on by an individual. Say you did that 4 times in a week. You only live really one day that week.
That's a good point.
Because you gave yourself up and made yourself be vulnerable to choices and decisions of being with people that was negative, people that was pulling on you, people that was telling you what you couldn't do and what you can't accomplish. When I look at you and I say, hey man, look, I want to buy a 100 unit apartment complex. I want to go buy 5 cabins in Gatlinburg. I need that individual to slap hands with me and say, hey, look, let's do that.
Let's do it.
How about that? Let's
How
do
do
that.
we do that?
Let's
What's
do
the first
that.
step? Yeah.
I got my people, you got your people. Let's write it on paper. Let's go and let's just make that happen. I need that in my life because that's pulling out the best in me. So then once you get those type of people around you, then you begin to shorten your learning curve, right? Mm-hmm. He's hanging around you. He's younger. You have some things that you have going on right now that may be his goal right now. Right. So I'm hanging around people that next step up, and I'm humble enough to say, hey, look, man, you at that step. I want to get there. I'm going to celebrate you, but I want to get to that step. How do you get to that step? That's what Floyd Mayweather did. He made $500 million plus or whatever in boxing. And then he told the guy, hey, look, you got the skyscrapers. That's cool and all. How do I get the skyscraper?
Floyd owns like 2 or 3 skyscrapers.
How do I get them?
Yeah.
And it started with one conversation where he said, hey, how do I get that? How do I get that one? I mean, it's cool you come to the boxing match and you see me and you sit on the front row, but I want that. I want the skyscraper. And then he repeated that over and over. But it started with him being around the right people to have the information that he need to make that happen. So I make sure that the people I'm around are people that can elevate me. And then sometimes I put myself in a position where I have to elevate some other people, right?
Oh, yeah.
That servanthood side of it. But I want to make sure that I'm growing every single day by the people that's around me.
There's people that you could be richer than that can elevate you. You know, money isn't the end all be all. I've got friends that are way smarter than I am, but I've got 10 times the money, but I ask them for advice every day. I ask them for guidance every day. I've got people that, you know, I'm not the strongest, but I know what areas I'm weak in. I got
a cool story, bro. I gotta get this out of me.
Let's hear it.
I got a friend. He has the helicopter. He got the 20,000 square foot home, like the crazy stuff, right? Mm-hmm. The stuff that he got the private plane. He sits on the board and he got control of a lot of things, right? So he's super powerful. He's like one of the richest people in this area, right? And everybody's just like looking at him like, man, I wish I was that person. And about 5 months ago, he committed suicide.
Damn.
So who was the richest? I want people to understand that as they watch this video. Who was it the individual that was enjoying their family, building their dreams, whatever their dreams are, and they was whole and content with who they were as a human being, and they wasn't looking to social media, and they weren't looking to the ads that was being ran and saying, oh, I got to chase that and I got to get there, and if I don't, then I'm going to shoot myself in the head or I'm going to hang myself. Who was the richest? Was it the man with the helicopters, the plane, and all those things, or was it that individual? When I look back at everything, and if he was in the room right now, I say, okay, that guy over there was actually the richest. Mm-hmm. So what's rich to you? That's why I ask people all the time, what do you consider rich? Is rich money? Is green? I could wipe my butt with it and throw it in the water back there.
Man, there was a Bob Marley. there was a Bob Marley interview, and they asked him, "Are you a millionaire?" He said, "No." And they asked, "Well, how rich are you?" He says, "When you say rich, what do you mean? How much money in the bank you have?" He's like, "Money make you rich?" He said, "No, my riches are life forever." And man, Bob Marley was such a deep thinker at the time. And you're absolutely right. I mean, man, you could be a billionaire, out of shape, no family, no friends, lonely. Man, you got somebody that's worth $30,000 with a whole family that loves them. When he comes home, they're happy to see him. Which one do you think's more happy at the end of the day?
There's a flip side to it. It's a flip side to it. It's still that guy that got $4 million in his account that's really happy. He's whole. Yeah, it's a rich side to that also. But it's like your perspective where you put it at. Because I know a lot of people, man, They drown themselves down into success, and success is money to them. Success is fast cars. Success is planes. My friend had that, and he committed suicide.
Man, money won't
know what I
exactly
mean?
money won't exactly buy happiness. It can stop you from being unhappy, though.
Yeah.
Money can definitely avoid problems that'll make you unhappy, but money won't directly make you happy. It can buy things that'll put you in a position to be happy. It'll make it to where you don't have your lights cut out on you and you're unhappy. You know, you're not going to be that happy whenever the bank calls your mortgage due and, you know, you're getting foreclosed on, obviously.
It's a happy medium.
There is a happy medium in life. There is, and you really need to learn the difference. Now, my definition of rich and happy is making sure that I have freedom, making sure my circle has freedom. My family's going to be taken care of forever. Shift your why. If you say, man, I want to have $10 million in the bank at 30 or I'm going to be unhappy, man, you're going to live a miserable life. But if you switch it and say, I want to build a team, $30 million is what I'm going to have, and I'm going to break bread with all my friends. We're going to build a whole team together.
I mean, everybody's got a different why. Everybody's got a different make it. What is your, if you had to define success to you, what does that mean?
Success is freedom. Success is being able to take care of my mom. Success is doing exactly what I said I would do when I made it to the NFL. Success is serving. I'm a philanthropist. I give away a whole lot of money. Money is, it's cool. We do a lot in the community because that's, to me, that's fulfilling. That to be able to look kids in the eyes that don't have the means, they resemble my friends that went to prison. They resemble my friends that got murdered. So to be able to go back and look at those kids and say, I have a chance to do something about this. I have a chance to change a narrative. You don't see many people talking about, what people I can say. All right, you do see many people talking about Martin Luther King. And there's a reason why, because he stood for the right things. So standing for the right things, being loyal, like he said, making sure your friends and your family, people like that, you know, they experience what you're experiencing, and we build for that. I couldn't wake up every single day and say, let me go chase this house or chase this money. No, I can wake up and say, let me go chase that, so then I can position myself, which in return position my mom, which in return position my sisters. In return, I can give 50 jobs away because I did this today, because I put in this work. And then now I'm fulfilled and I'm whole because I knew I wasn't just in this thing alone and I wasn't just chasing materialistic items. I really had a reason why I was doing what I was doing. That's the real true why. And having freedom to wake up in the morning and say, hey, Mom, look, I know you've been working. I know you've been dragging your knee. I know you had knee replacement. I know you've been making ends meet, all those things. How about we just go off and go to Costa Rica, and then we get there in Costa Rica and I give her a check and pays off her house. That's I'm chasing that. I long for that, bro.
Sounds like you want your cup to overflow.
Yeah, I want my cup to overflow. Don't
Right
put
into,
a gun in it,
right.
but I like to overflow.
That was my goal this year, was I got enough money for me. I got enough resources for me. I want my cup to overflow into my circle. I got tired of being the only one who was traveling. I got tired of being the only one who didn't have to work a 9 to 5. I got tired of saying, hey, it's 11 o'clock in the morning. Let's go hit the weights. Let's go hit the gym. My friends were at work. So I said, you know what? Let's change that. Let's create an opportunity of growth for everyone.
Yeah.
Your cup needs to overflow as a man. You need to have abundance. There is plenty of resources to go around. There is no shortage of money. They're printing billions of dollars of it per day.
I want to drip, bro. I want my people to get lost in the sauce.
If you ain't got the sauce, you lost.
I want to drip over. I want the blessings to be so rich. There go that word rich again. I want the blessings to be so rich that every step I make, somebody else is being blessed from it. Every move that I make, somebody's being blessed. Let my cup run it over so that I can be a blessing to the world. And that's what I say every day. I say, God, look, I'm going outside. I'm leaving this house, and I may not return. But let me be a blessing here on earth. Let what I say today, let what I do today be a blessing to somebody. I can't take nothing with me. But what I can do is I can leave all the good deeds here. And I live every day that way. I live every day as if it's my last day, because I don't know. You know, freaking the coronavirus came through, wiped out people. I don't know when my last day is, and that's the way. What you'll see a pattern. That's the way I play football. That's the way I train. That's the way I've lived my life to this point. That's 33 years of the same pattern. It's a habit now. This is how I live. This is the way I move. Like, this is it. This is my last day. I don't know, driving back to Mobile, this may have been my last time speaking. So I got to take advantage of this opportunity and make sure that, hey, look, I left that space better than when I found it, right? So I came to y'all spot. I came to y'all podcast. Something was said that somebody was blessed on, and I left that space better. That's my thing. If I leave the space better, then I fulfill that day.
Breathing life into the situation.
Same way with the employees. They're willing, being good shepherd over your sheep. That's important. My employees know that he got my back. You know, my mom, one of my employees called me, hey, my mom just passed away. The next week, another one called. This happened. My brother just fell out of my arms, and he's not moving no more. Being able to sit on that phone and talk to them and get over to their house and help them out and love on them, they know I got their back. And when you have a lot of people that understand that you have their back, then you actually can do less because they got your back. Those are the type of people that I want to be around. Those are the type of way I want to live my life.
That's deep. I know we're a finance podcast. And
oh yeah, I'm sorry.
No.
Millionaire in the making. Millionaire in the
no.
making. You got to be well-rounded to become a millionaire.
Yeah.
Health, wealth, love, and happiness.
I love it.
Health, wealth, love, and happiness.
That's not where I was not going with that. I was just saying, I know we're a finance podcast, but I really think that's why the real wealthy, happy people are the way they are. And I wanted to ask you, was there a certain like point in your life where that like mindset was birthed, or have you just been like that? Were you raised like that?
Events.
Trauma.
Yeah, trauma, events, challenges, obstacles, setbacks, sitting looking at a blank wall after you had a failed suicidal attempt. You know, those things kind of add up after a while. And I think when we obtain exactly what I've been chasing for years, there's going to be a lot of peace at the finish line, right? And being able to look my mom, I keep saying my mom because that's like my number one. So being able to look my mom in the eyes and say, hey, look, we finally did it. We finally did what I told you we was going to do. And when you understand that this thing is bigger than you and you just a small piece to the puzzle, and whatever years God give you here on earth, you just like, look, I'm just going to take advantage of it so that one day my kids can take advantage of it. So one day the kids in the community can take advantage of it because I opened some doors that was closed. You know, there's some things that I've done that I've never talked about on podcasts. I've said in different bank committees and said, hey, look, what are you doing and why are you doing it? Understand that I understand that I'm a young African American. I understand I got tattoos. I understand I can walk around with a ball cap. But look, you see those numbers I did? You see the things all the hurdles, everything that you asked, every payment that you told me to make, I've graduated to this. So things like that, man, challenging the narrative, challenging some of the things that you go through so that you can be one day considered as a trendsetter.
That's awesome, man. I know you think we're a finance podcast, but like this is the goods. I truly believe from everything I've gathered up to this point in my life that this is what everything is built on. Like the philo, the stuff that's in your heart, in your brain. That's awesome to hear. I didn't want you to think that going on this tangent was bad. Like, no, this is the shit we need on this channel.
Yeah. And I'm a firm believer in health, wealth, love, and happiness. If you don't have the health, what's the point? If you don't have the wealth, you won't be able to provide for your family. If you ain't got the love, the friendships, the partnerships, the connections, man, you're living just a vaporous life. The happiness comes when you have all three of them.
Double.
It's the byproduct. Yeah.
Triple.
Imagine a chair. You can have a chair with 3 legs. You'll be good. All right. You'll be good. Imagine a chair with 2 legs. That's going to be real hard. You might not be able to balance that one. You got a chair with 1 leg, you're getting wiped out. Health, wealth, love, and happiness, balance. Okay. So let's get into the last part of this. We're going to have a 5-minute real bread and butter, the meat and potatoes. Okay. If you could coach someone that was in your position from about 14 to 20 years old, okay, and he was on the same life path as you, football, everything. Imagine, you look him in the eye right there, right in front of you. How would you coach him in about 5 minutes? You have 5 minutes to change this kid's life.
It's not what it looks like. It's what you can create. Meaning that whatever you are currently experiencing, you can change that there is not a period right there. That's actually a comma. God want to continue to let that sentence run on. So if you're experiencing an injury, a setback, an obstacle, a disappointment, then know that you can keep going. Don't stop. On the other side is greatness. When I had the failed suicidal attempt, I thought that was going to be relief when I drive my car off the bridge. But honestly, that was stopping everything that was on the other side of it. So what I'm excited about is that you are finally becoming you. There are things that you have to go through in the process to become who you actually are. Where are you going right now? There's steps that you have to take to get there. So don't just stop. Don't just give up. Don't just give in. This is an opportunity for you to grow. This is an opportunity for you to stretch. The muscle doesn't, you're a gym guy, the muscle doesn't really form until you actually put some opposition against it. The muscle don't really form until you have to do a little bit more reps. You have to put a little bit more weight. Now I look at life and I say, hey, look, why not me? Why not me? Back then I looked at life and I said, why me, God? Why do you have me at this point? Why did I not make it to the NFL? I was the only one on the team that was starting as a freshman. Why not me? Why not me? It's because what you have planned for yourself and what he have planned for you is sometimes totally opposite. But when you get to the point where you can just accept what he has for you, then what you will find, this thing is so much easier. I've always lived by this. Your gift shall make room for you and place you before great men. Your gift. Every person is born with a certain attribute, a certain characteristic, a certain trait, a certain gift that you have that is really supposed to make it easy. Whether your gift is coaching, whether your gift is real estate, whether your gift is so many different gifts, whether you're going to be a lawyer, whatever your gift is, don't ignore the gift because the gift is going to make room for you. A lot of people make a mistake trying to do too many things at one time. And what you really should be doing is just going deep into that one or two things that you're looking at. Those are the one or two things that's going to blow you up. And that's what happened for me with the real estate. That's what happened for me as an author. Now I'm reverting back and I'm saying, hey, look, let's do the speaking thing. I feel like I'm just as good as any other person that's speaking because I speak real. I speak facts. And when I leave the area is different. It's been changed. Something has been set free. And that's the way you got to visualize yourself. You got to have confidence in whatever you're doing right now in life. You have to have confidence that you are the biggest, the baddest, the hardest thing in the room. And when you believe that, there is literally no competition. You are your only competition. So now it's time for you to stop holding yourself back from what you're supposed to be achieving. No matter where you are right now in life, I know you got tears in your eyes. I know you want to give up. I know you feel like you're a disappointment. I know you feel like everybody turned their back on you. No, you're exactly where you're supposed to be at this time, in this moment, in this season. Now it's time for you to get up and get going. Realize who you are. Realize how powerful you are. Realize how great you are because you are a great individual, and dig a little bit deeper and pull something out. That's what I like about this podcast is these guys are actually forming this thing up and they're saying to themselves, okay, we are right here, but this is where we're going. That's what I've heard over the last 2-3 hours. There's a vision in place. You have a vision for yourself. And if you don't have a vision for yourself, I need you to write a vision tonight because that dream may have been broken. That's cool. You had the injury. You had to transfer. You had to give up. You had to do all these things so that you can pick your head up. So now you got your head up. So now I know as a guy that has recovered from wanting to just throw in the towel, I know if you can pick your head up, you can get up and you can go and you can keep going. You can get exactly what you want. There's many people that I know that was high school dropouts, many people that I know that didn't have everything sorted out, didn't have all the resources that are multi-millionaires. They're making money and they're using their money to be able to experience real freedom, and that's being able to do whatever they want to do and wake up whenever they want to wake up. You talked about that. And so get yourself in position. Don't give up on yourself. Don't give up. Trust me, I'm pleading you today. If you don't do nothing else, just promise me that you will not give up on yourself. You will keep going. You will keep pushing, survive, stabilize your life, and then thrive. Let's take off.
Boom. That's
Y'all
awesome.
just let me win in for a second.
That was Man, that was powerful. Man, I want to get that message in front of everyone. Man, y'all do us a favor. Everyone needs to hear those last 5 minutes. Share this podcast with somebody who needs it. All right? Share that clip. I promise you, that's going to save somebody's life right there. That's going to create 10, 15, 20,000 millionaires right there. That one little speech. You're going to save some kid's life. Some kid's going to end up not going to jail, and he's going to go into football because of that. So let's go ahead and wrap this up, man. I appreciate you for your time. Man, that was inspirational.
Yeah, man. Anything else you want to say before we wrap it up?
No, I just appreciate you guys.
Got everything out?
Y'all reached out to me on the IG message through a friend that's on Instagram. I don't think we even met. Chance. I don't think we even met.
Man, shout out to Chance.
Yeah, he just knew that I had some words, and he knew that you guys was already, and he just kind of put it together and got us in this thing. So I'm just grateful for the opportunity, and I don't take it lightly. Thank you guys for this beautiful studio.
Oh yeah.
And just don't forget the little guys in the back, man. Y'all going to the top with this thing, man. This is awesome. Keep doing what you're doing, and appreciate it once again.
That's awesome, man. Hey, you made him cry over there with the speech.
Cry over there. Man, I'm tearing up over here with that one.
You did it. Well, yeah, guys, if you haven't and you stay till the end, if you haven't liked, commented, or subscribed, be sure to do so. All the links will be down below in the description. And yeah, we're going to rock out on that one.